Okay, Leo. Leo, you're live on the air. Go ahead and state your question.
Hi, Rabbi. I have a question about what's the basis of the Christian understanding of a second coming in the Tanakh? Is there any? And if so, then if I was to use that way of thinking, then why can't I say that Bar Kokhba or Shabtai Tzvi, who are Jewish rabbis that claim the Messiah, would come back a second time? I don't understand.
It's interesting when Christians say that Bar Kokhba can't be the Messiah because he was killed by the Roman Empire. But first of all, there's, of course, nothing in Tanakh that talks about a second coming. A second coming was a necessary innovation to explain why Jesus did not perform or did not fulfill the prophecies that are found throughout the Jewish scriptures. And the only putative prophecies that he fulfilled are based on verses, passages in the Jewish scriptures that either don't exist or exist but have been mistranslated and always ripped out of context. So there's nothing in the Hebrew Bible that says the Messiah is going to come twice. And if the Messiah can come twice, then my sister-in-law could be the Messiah. She didn't do anything. It's going to be a second coming. So that has to be brought in later in order to explain why not only nothing happens, it's vital to understand that the very opposite of what the Messiah is supposed to do occurred in the first century, meaning the temple wasn't built in the first century, it was destroyed in the first century. There wasn't world peace in the first century, but there was wars in the first century, and a major war is where the Jews were expelled from the land of Israel rather than gathered into the land of Israel, which is promised in Isaiah 56, verse 6 through 8. And especially look at verse 8. Look at Isaiah 49, verse 3. Look at Isaiah 43, verse 4, 5, and 6. The ingathering of the exiles. So the worldwide knowledge of God, which is the single most important prophecy. It's the central feature of the Messianic age, that all the nations will know that I am Lord. Every tongue will swear in my name, every knee will bow to him. That's the most important thing, that God will be king of the world, Zechariah 14, verse 9. He will be one, and his name will be one. What does it mean? He will be king. V'hoya l'melech al kol ha'aretz. He will be king of the whole world. Is God not king now? Well, the answer is that if a king's subjects do not accept him as king, so then he's not king. So it's only that he'll be king of the whole world, which means the whole world will accept the God of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, as the only God. There will only be one faith in the world, and the knowledge of God will cover the world as the water covers the sea. Now, it should be said that in the Synoptic Gospels in particular, meaning the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, which are called synoptic because the two Greek words synoptic, which means with the same view, they're somewhat similar, certainly in structure, and Matthew and Luke relied on Mark. But the idea does come across where whoever wrote them thought that it was imminent. It was going to happen then. In Mark 9, verse 1, Jesus, we're told, says, "Truly I say to you, there's some of you standing here who will not taste of death until you see the kingdom of God come with the full power." Mark 13:32, this generation will not pass away before these things happen. So the earlier Gospels portray this, and also the letters of Paul, which are even earlier than the Gospels, they're under the impression that Jesus' coming is imminent. It's going to happen now. Paul makes that very clear. It's just about to happen in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. It's really all over the place, that it's something imminent. We're just awaiting it. There's some who are dead. Many of us are alive. We'll see it, they thought. Of course, it didn't, because he wasn't the Messiah. But you always need a second coming when you haven't done anything. Right? Because he didn't do anything, so what do? Well, it's very likely that many people who were Christians, Now, I'm calling them Christians. They would not have called themselves Christians while Jesus was alive. If he had any following, some of them might have, their views might have been disconfirmed and walked away from it fairly quickly. But obviously the line had to be changed. The goalpost had to be altered. The dartboard had to be moved to change the goal. And the goal was the second coming. And you see this really in the book of John, this development, where in the book of John, rather than an earthly kingdom coming, the book of John is not only the fourth of the four Gospels, but chronologically it's written last. The book of John is probably written at the very end of the first century. So you notice how in the book of John, which is strikingly different than the Synoptic Gospels, some 9% of the book of John appears nowhere in the Synoptic Gospels. But in the book of John, the kingdom that's now expected, anticipated, is a heavenly kingdom. It's not of this world, but it's from above. And that comes out in many ways in the book of John, famously in John chapter 3 in Jesus' putative conversation with Nicodemus. He says, born from above, and it's a heavenly kingdom. So John is very much, because John is written so late, everyone's dead. By the time the book of John is written, all the people who were around in the year 30 almost certainly were dead. So at that point, the expectation has to change dramatically, where it's a heavenly kingdom we're expecting. The Roman Empire was in its golden age at the time, so the idea that the Roman Empire is going to fall, that wasn't happening. Judea was destroyed, the land of Israel, the Commonwealth was destroyed, Masada's, everything is destroyed. So by that time, people are going, we're talking about a spiritual church, a heavenly temple. So that's going to dramatically alter. But if there's a second coming, what claim could be dismissed? And that's the hallmark of a false religion, and that's unfalsifiability. Contrast that to Tanakh. That makes very explicit predictions. How long the exile will be, 70 years, Jeremiah 29, verse 10. What will happen? It'll stop raining. Not there'll be wars and rumors of wars in the Olivet Discourse, which is so vague. No. Very, very specific. You'll be among your enemies who will hate you in the lands I will send you, Deuteronomy 28, verse 60 through 65. So Tanakh is very specific and highly falsifiable, whereas the Christian claims of a second coming, then anybody could be the Messiah. The second coming, to answer your question quite directly, is nowhere in the Jewish Bible, but it's a Christian invention in order to explain away Jesus fulfilling absolutely nothing. If you enjoyed this program, please like and subscribe.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא